Well, Vandermeer,
Ryan Stevens.
welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, my friend. Good to be here.
So, who is Will Vandermeer? Tell us a bit about yourself.
That's a good question. Who is he? Okay. Will Vandermeer is myself. As the name suggests, I have Dutch background. I am quite interested in politics, which for my age, some people consider unusual. Will, you should just be at the pub having a beer with your mates. But look, guys, have you seen the tax on beer right now? We got to lower excise tax on alcohol first.
Well, how much does it cost to buy a standard pint in a pub these days?
Standard pint? Honestly, it's been so long for me. I'll tell you. It's about $11, isn't it?
Wow, that's crazy.
You'd know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big drinker.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the occasional beer.
Yeah.
And especially ones that get imported from, say, like Europe.
And they do.
Those beers can get quite expensive.
Yeah.
Like, talking about like $20 a pint.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favourite European beer?
Probably say it's a beer called Samuel Smith's.
Samuel Smith's. Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It's a Yorkshire beer.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Yep.
Yeah. Yorkshire man. So, yeah. So you gotten into politics?
Yes.
Which party? Which party? Yeah.
The Libertarian Party, as a matter of fact, which I believe you know because you are a member as well.
Yes.
But yes, the Libertarian Party, only political party I've been a member of. I joined in 2021 when I was still in high school, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
So from that maths, you can work out my age thereabouts.
Yeah.
But what prompted me to join the party was the actions of David Limerick during the lockdowns. Him and Tim Quilty, some of the only people that were making a stand for human rights and the horrendous government overreach brought about by Daniel Andrews during the lockdowns.
So how old were you when that happened? The whole lockdown, the COVID pandemic?
Yeah. So I was only 17 when all of that happened. Had no interest at all in politics whatsoever beforehand. I think I took one of those, the political compass quizzes. I think I took one of them and look, probably over half the questions made no sense to me at all, but it put me in like center.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously the lockdowns had a massive impact on, school, family business as well. And I realised that what was happening there didn't just spring out of nowhere. It was a result of an ever-increasing government years prior to that, and slow overbearing bureaucracy coming years before that.
Yeah, it's government's gotten quite big in I'd probably say over the past 20-30 years.
It certainly has. And the question you've got to ask is, has the services actually benefited your life more?
Yeah.
Is your life any better with the more taxes you're giving to the government? Are you seeing the benefits?
Or has the services improved?
Exactly. Our excise tax on fuel has been getting bigger and bigger. Are the roads any better?
Well, you just got to drive on them to find out, don't you?
Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the current major issues that are currently happening within Australia, and
Yep.
mainly Victoria as a whole,
Yep.
is the ongoing tobacco wars.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell me a bit about that and why has that become such a mess?
So the tobacco wars last year, I'll tell you a story. Well, I'll tell you a story now about last year, rather. So, in Parliament one morning, I was in the office of David Limbrick this day. David brought in a cake. Okay. And that cake was the shape of a cigarette.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
The reason being is because Victoria had just seen over 100 arson attacks, fire bombings, due to the tobacco wars. So we stood behind that cake and sung "Happy Arson to you, Happy Arson Victoria," to try and get some attention about the issue. And now lives have been lost from this issue. Businesses are burnt down. We're attracting more and more crime to this state. And the reason for that is because of tobacco excise. It is around 65% of the cost of a packet of cigarettes is tax. When that's the case, organised crime is now able to capture the market by selling illegal products at a far lower cost, but still have huge margins.
That's crazy.
So, because of this, because there's a black market for it, not only is the tobacco excise tax no longer reducing the amount of smoking, it's not even raising as much revenue as what it used to. The latest increases have actually decreased the amount of tax revenue received from tobacco excise tax. So, tobacco excise tax is not benefiting anyone except bureaucrats in Canberra and criminals. So it's a problem that needs to be addressed now.
And what would you say the Libertarian Party's proposition is to how to solve this current issue?
Our proposition to fix the issue of the tobacco wars is to cut tobacco excise tax so a legitimate market can return, as well as legalising vaping for adults. Vaping is a far safer and healthier alternative to smoking, okay? People will start vaping and have no intentions of quitting smoking, but they will, simply because vaping is a fantastic alternative for them. It's more convenient in many ways than smoking. Doesn't have a lingering smell as well. Yeah. And yet we've just, again, allowed the pathway for a black market for low quality vapes in Australia. There are certainly health issues associated with vaping in this country, but the large contributing factor to that is the vapes that we actually have in the market. They are the cheap Chinese black market vapes.
Yeah.
If we stopped the prohibition on vaping, we could have high quality and safer vapes return to the market. And that's what needs to be done.
So, legalise vaping.
Legalise vaping.
Cutting the tax.
Cut tobacco excise tax.
and that should. Do you think any crime, like police force involved in stopping the organised crime, do you think that would have any effect on it?
Well, the thing is, police do have the power to do so. But the fact is, the issue has just gotten so out of control that police don't bother. They don't bother, going into these tobacco shops and conducting checks on them.
Yeah.
There's no point for them. It's such a rampant, out of control issue that the police don't want to spend any time on it. And why would you?
Yeah.
If you were a police officer? We have a simple solution to the issue. Cut excise tax. And that's what needs to be done.
Yeah. So that's one of many issues that's currently affecting Australia.
Certainly, yes.
What are some other issues that you see that is kind of, I guess, is hurting Australia's population at large, hurting our national interest,
Yep.
our economy,
Yep.
and so on and so forth, that will be dragged on for years and that our children will have to pay for? What are some of those issues that you think are of major concern?
Of course. So, probably the biggest issue on most people's minds is the cost of government.
Cost of government.
Cost of government.
Not cost
We
of living?
traditionally know it as the cost of living, but what most people don't realise is it really is the cost of government. Our inflation and prices of goods and services is the result of government policy, government overspending, government overtaxation, and government red tape. If we stop these things, Australia would be a far more prosperous place to live.
Do you think... I know a lot of people within Australia and in the electorate of Deakin
Yep.
have brought up what you're going to do around immigration.
Yep.
Because most people are seeing immigration as becoming either a big problem,
Yep.
or they want more of it.
Yes, you are right. So I believe immigration has essentially been used to cook the books, as a matter of fact. Australia would have been in negative GDP if it weren't for the crazy amount of immigration we have had that has inched up our GDP. Immigration simply needs to be controlled. We've got people living on the streets right now. The state of our economy is so low, we can't afford to be letting more and more people in. I certainly believe immigration has benefited this country and continues to benefit this country. And we do need immigration, but not at the rate it has been.
Yeah. Interesting. So the current immigration levels, do you think that is affecting the current property price?
Absolutely it is. There are so many contributing factors to the price of houses right now. But the idea that of some that just, they don't want to listen, they've got their ears blocked onto the issue of immigration being a contributing factor to the prices of housing. That's a real problem. Of course, we've got so much red tape around the supply of housing. The people who build houses, property developers,
Yeah.
We're not incentivizing them to do so with all the tax and regulation we have on development. Of course, the amount of money that has been printed, particularly during the period of COVID-19, once this currency comes into circulation, people who are wealthier can immediately put this money into assets, okay? Like housing. When those who are less wealthy get this currency, they have to use it, of course, for goods and services, okay? So when we produce more currency and use money that we don't have, this essentially makes the divide between those that are less wealthy and those that are more wealthy even bigger. And that's certainly been a huge contributing factor to the price of real estate.
So, and you're a young person.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you are.
Yes, I am.
And I know a lot of young people in our age bracket. They see climate change as a massive issue in society. How big of an issue is it actually?
There are a lot of young people who do feel that way. And there's more that don't buy the fear-mongering by the government and companies that benefit off of renewables, mind you. But I've got to tell you something. If it is as big of an issue, the rising temperatures that are supposedly man-made, as people say it is, then, well, we're already dead. Australia contributes 1% of global emissions. Other countries that reducing their emissions to the same level Australia is expected to by this Paris Agreement and all these other green energy schemes. Is China?
Well, clearly not.
No. Think of all the coal that is used to produce these solar panels.
Big tons.
Exactly. And they're not renewable by any stretch of the imagination. So we're subsidizing these to the extreme and bringing them over here through produced by coal in China. They're not efficient, they're not effective, and they're making our energy costs higher and higher. And who is it benefiting?
China.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is that the Australian government is currently subsidising China to produce these solar panels.
Yes, absolutely.
And using Australian coal to do it with.
Yes.
Wow. That's incredible.
It's laughable.
That's
really.
That's the biggest sham I've...
Yes.
Damn.
So we believe in a free market for energy.
Yeah.
If the consumer decided that with their wallet that renewable energy, solar panels and wind turbines were the most effective, then maybe that would benefit China. But I'm willing to wager that the consumer would not determine this. The consumer would vote with their wallet for the most cost-efficient form of energy, and that would be coal and gas.
Coal, gas.
Yes.
And understand that the Libertarian Party is a big advocate on nuclear energy.
We are, yes.
So, how would that play into the mix within this free market energy that is being proposed by the party?
Yeah, look, I have so many people say to me at polling booths from other parties, why do you want to legalise nuclear? It's so expensive. Yes, the upfront costs of nuclear are very expensive, but why is that any reason to have it banned? I see that argument as irrelevant. We don't believe in subsidising nuclear, no. But if private industry does want to produce nuclear energy, we think that is fantastic. And maybe, right now, it may not be in the energy grid. But we've seen the entrepreneurial spirit of people globally create massive change throughout the entire world, through new inventions, new technology. Maybe in a couple of years, the technology for nuclear a new discovery for it could be found, and it could be far cheaper than what it is currently.
Yeah.
We need to lift the ban on it now, so private industry has the ability to thrive. And it may be that right now, if we did lift the prohibition, certain people would invest in nuclear energy. It is a large upfront investment, but over the long term, nuclear produces incredibly efficient and cost-effective energy.
Interesting. Let's touching on again the young people.
Yep.
And over the course of at least the past 10 years, we've seen a rise in wokeism.
Yep.
Why do you think young people have become, been engulfed in this woke mind virus?
The reason they've become engulfed in it is largely through our education system. But I do believe that's starting to change. Parents are wanting to be more involved and have more autonomy over their children. More and more, which I think is fantastic. The school system absolutely needs reform. A few months ago, I picked one of my nephews up from school and saw outside the art classroom a whole lot of painted flags.
Yeah.
Aboriginal flags with the word sorry written on them. Now, regardless of what you think of the horrible things that happened years and years ago, these children had no involvement in it. Why are they being made to feel guilty over something that they had no responsibility over? It's horrible. So the Libertarian Party believes in reforming the education system via school vouchers. Thing is with this, the incident at that primary school, parents don't get a choice in that matter.
Yeah.
Okay? They're likely zoned to that certain school, and that school has to follow a national curriculum and do certain things. Okay? We believe in abolishing zoning, school zoning, allowing educational institutions to opt out of the national curriculum, as well as providing school vouchers. So the funding follows the student rather than going straight to the school. So what this will do is create more competition amongst schools. And the educational institution, regardless of the location it is in, that provides the best service for your family and other families that share the same values as your own, that will have more students gravitating towards it, and thus the funding for that school will increase. So that's our policy on that matter.
So you're touching on, the current political climate and societal climate within Australia.
Yep.
Now, if we jump across the Pacific Ocean and head to America.
Okay. You can jump off it nowadays.
Yeah, well.
You don't have to fly or...
Figure of speech. But
figure of
swim even, Imagine how long it would take to swim to America.
Don't want to imagine that.
You'd probably get shot.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So, with the re-election of Donald Trump as president, we've seen a lot of the rolling back of the Biden era policies, which tend to be, work like DEI and censorship of social media.
Yep.
And, limitations on free speech.
Yep. I would say there's some of that in the Trump administration right now, but keep going.
So how much do you think America has influence upon Australian politics?
Yeah. As I sort of hinted at before, I do have a lot of problems with the policies of Trump. But contrary to what a lot of people think, I love the bravado of his character.
His character, yeah.
And the fact that whether you like him or not, he represents an anti-establishment movement. His whole demeanor, his policies, and his way of campaigning as well. People will say it's conservative, but I certainly wouldn't say it's traditional. Think of the stunts he did back last year. The garbage truck,
yeah.
the garbage truck, that was hilarious. And the Maccas,
the McDonald's
cooking at McDonald's, yeah. I think we've seen a bit of that in Australia now, as well. You think of the stunt the Libertarian Party did, as a matter of fact, at the petrol station. Don't know if you saw that.
I saw clips of it, yeah.
Yeah, so we were filling up people's cars with fuel, but the price of what it would be if excise tax wasn't present. So the price was around 99 cents a litre
Wow.
for unleaded fuel.
That's unheard of.
Yeah. So doing stunts like that to gain attention for your movement has certainly had a flow-on effect here. As well as that, as much as I do have problems with Trump's policies, I think plenty of the good elements of what he stands for has certainly become more acceptable within the Overton window, within the public conversation over here. Cutting the size of government is now something that is so appealing to heaps of people that otherwise may have once turned a blind eye to that. The importance of it is now seen.
Yeah.
The attacks on our vulnerable, that being children, with the gender transition treatment, puberty blockers, now that is more and more within the conversation we see in Australia. The problems with that issue because of the policies that Trump has enacted.
Definitely. And a few days ago, he lifted the tariffs temporarily.
Yes.
On all nations but one, which is China.
Yep.
Which is quite understandable if he's not a fan of China. But I know the Libertarian Party's not that keen on tariffs.
No.
Because they view it as another form of tax.
Yes. Felt by the consumer.
But if you were to bring manufacturing back to Australia, and champion the Australian manufacturing industry, which was once one of the world's best, how would the Libertarian Party do that without introducing these wide-ranging tariffs?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the best ways we can bring manufacturing back to Australia, of course, is reducing tax. Have you heard of the Laffer curve?
No. What's...
So the Laffer curve is a theory in economics that the most tax revenue received is around the 20% mark. Okay? And once you go further, this leads to a decrease in productivity because business and industry is not incentivized as much to conduct their business there at that location. So less tax revenue is actually received. So what we need to do first is lower our taxes on business. We need to cut red tape, over-regulation of industry. We need to cut green tape as well. Unnecessary burdens on business to comply with green schemes that supposedly benefit the environment, but they're really of no use.
Yeah, it's definitely... it's definitely going to be difficult to compete with China.
Certainly.
With the high rate of minimum wage that we have in this country. Certainly.
And the Libertarian Party does not believe in any increases to the minimum wage. We want minimum wage earners paying less tax.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We believe in increasing the tax-free threshold to $50,000 and $100,000 for couples.
Yeah.
And with that $100,000, that means couples aren't punished for having one parent staying at home.
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic. That, again, helps to return the autonomy of parents back to parents.
And would you say that also incentivizes couples to start families?
Certainly it does, yeah. Which is certainly what we need in Australia. But back to your question of manufacturing. What we also need to do...
Just wait 1 second, what?
The battery's going to die.
Okay. We'll just use this one. just leave it running.
No, you're all good.
Just some technical issues. So what we're on about?
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing, yeah, and family taxes, and building the Australian population back up through having more children. Which
because the main issue there is our aging population.
Yeah.
Yep. So couples simply can't afford to have children because of the state of our economy. So we need to incentivize couples to have children, and by having a combined tax 3 threshold, we can help to do that. On the notion of manufacturing, like you said, how do we bring it back here? Another simple solution is to cut our energy costs by stopping subsidies and by stopping bans on certain forms of energy. That is energy plays a crucial role in manufacturing. Okay, so if we want to incentivize business to come here, to conduct their operations here, we need cheap energy. And we need a lower cost of fuel as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, as I said before, our policy is to cut fuel excise tax. Yeah. Because fuel excise tax isn't just felt by you as a driver when you're filling up. It's felt when you buy goods and services. Goods have to be... materials to produce things have to be transported. There's fuel used in manufacturing things.
Shipping things,
like of course.
Aircraft.
Yes, definitely.
So we completely cut the excise tax.
Yep.
How cheaper would a standard flight become?
A standard flight.
So let's say a standard flight is from, say, Melbourne to Sydney, for example.
Yep.
At the moment, it's about, if you book early, $300 return.
Yeah.
How much would that decrease to?
I'm actually not too sure about that one, my friend. How much a flight would cost. It's hard to tell. The excise tax, if that was cut from planes, that'd probably be about 1/3 of the price of fuel. But as to the overall cost of the flight, it's hard to tell, but I would like to see.
No, it'd definitely be interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I know a lot of people be saying, why vote for a minor party?
Yep.
When you've got the Liberal Party, which is already the official loyal opposition of His Majesty.
Yep.
What separates the Libertarian Party from the Liberal Party?
What separates the Libertarian Party from the Liberal Party mainly is that we believe in the Menzies "we believe" statement. What the Liberal Party was founded on, the values of free markets and liberty, we don't just say we stand by, we stand by through and through. We have been on record to have never voted for an increase in taxes or a decrease in liberty. Even when voting on certain issues have been useless, our elected members have had it on record that they have voted against these bills. Can the Liberal Party really say that they have never voted for an increase in taxes or decrease in liberty?
Can they?
And also, can their members and elected MPs, would they all even say they believe in liberty and free markets? There are so many people elected into the Liberal Party that I would say are closer to Teals than what the Liberal Party was once upon a time.
Wow.
There are some great people within the Liberal Party that certainly stand by liberal values. But by getting libertarian members elected, you can hold the Liberal Party to account to make sure that they do stick to the principles that they are meant to, and ensure you have a clear voice for freedom.
So, what I'm getting from that is that the Libertarian Party would like to create this caucus of MPs within the Senate.
Yep.
And the idea would be to hold the balance of power.
Yes.
So that any bill that does come through the Senate is not encroaching on human rights.
Exactly. Properly scrutinised with the glasses of liberty on.
Yeah.
That's right. And people will say they don't want to waste their vote. But as we know, with the preferential voting system, if you do like the values of the Libertarian Party, you can put Libertarian 1 and Liberal 2nd, or 3rd or 4th, as long as it is ahead of the other party that will be in the two-party preferred, most of the time Labor. And your vote will still go to the Liberal Party. What it means is you're helping the Libertarian Party to get more AEC funding. Once the 4% mark is reached, money is received from every vote for every party. So you're helping the Libertarian Party to grow, but also what you are doing is showing the Liberal Party that you value liberty and free markets. You value prosperity, family, and freedom. And that encourages the Liberal Party to stand by that as well.
Interesting. So, yeah, Libertarian Party is the true embodiment of Robert Menzies, would you say?
For the most part, yes. For the most part, I would say so.
And we all know how long Robert Menzies was Prime Minister for.
Yes, yes.
For ages.
Yes.
Yeah, so... And... Just touching on how you mentioned about, legalising vaping.
Yep.
As a form of... quitting tobacco and quitting smoking.
Yeah.
There has been an emerging market within America and in Europe.
Yep.
Of nicotine pouches.
Nicotine pouches, yes.
So
there are a few other names for nicotine pouches,
but,
which people know them by.
Tell me a bit about nicotine pouches and why they're such a great product.
I'm not working for any nicotine pouch company. I'm not a lobbyist or anything. I'm not paid by them. But I do think they are a fantastic product. In Sweden, you have under 5% smoking rate. So low, right? And that's because people use these nicotine pouches, often known as Zyn. upper deckies, some people call them as well. So they're just these little white sort of tea bag looking things. Synthetic form of nicotine. No tobacco. Obviously, smoke and vape free. Just put it between your gum and your lip. This is far healthier in every possible way than smoking. Okay, it's healthier than vaping as well. Yet they are illegal in Australia.
Doesn't make sense, does it?
Well, it does make sense because of lobbying and also tax. Excise tax received from smoking.
So the reason why they're illegal is because the government wouldn't be making as much excise tax on cigarettes.
Yeah. I think there are a few reasons, but that certainly is a contributing factor. But it's not, we don't have an entirely free market right now. And people tend to say that what we've got is a result of free markets. It's not at all. This is a perfect example of crony capitalism. Lobbyists influencing government policy to benefit their own business interests. What the Libertarian Party believes in is competition.
Yeah.
We've seen how that competition in the nicotine market has played out in Sweden. Let's try it here.
Definitely it'd be I think it would be opening that market up to other forms of competition, and hopefully that will reduce smoking rates, create a healthier population.
Exactly. But it really makes you question when something like nicotine pouches, Zyn, is illegal. Okay. But then the horrible fast food that is out there, that's perfectly fine. It really makes you question, why is this illegal?
Yeah. And I've read and watched a few videos of other, like Andrew Huberman.
Yeah.
He's quite a big advocate for small doses of nicotine to as a mental enhancer.
Cognitive enhancer.
Some people might even claim it's a super drug.
Some people may. Yeah.
Do you agree with those people that claim that it's it can have cognitive enhancements? From your experience.
Yeah. In plenty of cases, it may be for people, but ultimately that should be their choice. For that matter. It's not the nicotine that is harmful. It is the delivery device. We know that. Smoking, okay, kills more people every single year than what the pandemic did.
Yeah.
Okay. Over that 2-year period. Yet we're not providing alternatives to smoking, okay, that are far healthier. We need people to have that choice. If they think an alternative form of nicotine benefits their life, all power to them. And if they don't, then that's fine as well. But just legalize vaping and nicotine pouches.
Definitely. Well, thank you for coming on to the show today.
Thank you. Pleasure.
So, just for anyone who's out there might be watching for the upcoming election.
Yep.
What's your final pitch to the audience out there? Why they should be voting for the Libertarian Party?
If you want to see a more prosperous Australia, this can be achieved. If you want to keep more of your hard-earned money, this can be achieved. If you want to make more choices about your own health rather than government making them for you, this can be achieved. If you want to make decisions for your family rather than having bureaucrats make those decisions, this can be achieved. If you want cheap energy prices, this can be achieved. All this can be achieved through voting for the Libertarian Party, to allow us to stand for your prosperity, your family, and your freedom.
Well, you heard it here, people. Thank you again for coming onto the show, and
thank you, Ryan.
Best of luck in the upcoming election.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.